Hi guys, in this video I will show you a tour around the plugin, how you install it, get it running, and show you all around all the features that we currently have. So first of all, it is a WordPress plugin. So you need to have a WordPress installation, go to your plugins folder, and there you need to have the basis Gravity Form plugin. Since this is a Gravity Forms add-on, it enhances the features that Gravity Forms has by default. So we click to add new plugin, then we upload it manually and we drag and drop the zip file you got provided and install it. You get the zip file after you get your license or you purchased a license. So click activate plugin, and now what you will have is on forms, go to settings, and there you have a new bullet point visible called WebinarJam. Once clicked, you get asked to enter your license key. Simply paste your license key. You will get that from our website or after purchasing a license key. Click Save Settings, and next step is to enter your WebinarJam API key down here. Your WebinarJam API key you will get from your WebinarJam account. Go to WebinarJam and click on one of your webinars that you configured and click on Advanced. And there you have the API. And mine API key is here. Simply copy it and paste it into the API keys field. If here comes a green tick, it indicates you that the API key is working. If the API key is not working, you will get a red cross indicating that you have to review your API key. Just a quick note, if you don't have an API key here, there will be a message saying please request access to your API key. This is not shown by default, but simply request your API key and you will get it in a few days. Now switch back, and down here is the third and for now the last option you can set, and this is entering an email address of an admin, maybe yours. To that email address we will send, or not we, but the plugin, so your WordPress server will send on to this email address any notifications is if something happens with your WebinarJam API. Maybe the API key get invalid in the future, or the WebinarJam API goes down and we cannot transmit leads from Gravity Forms to your WebinarJam account. Whatever goes wrong or might get wrong gets sent to this email address, so you will always have control of what happens with your leads that you want to have in your WebinarJam account. So we're basically done with the centralized settings on this point, and now go to a form and create our form, which then will send the leads that we acquire to WebinarJam. Let's say it like this. And now the very basic thing you have to do is to add a name field and an email field. That is the very basic form you have to do. If these fields are missing, you will get an error warning later on in the configuration process. Let's say we just want to have the first name, like make it like this, and the email address. Click Save Form for now and go to Settings, WebinarJam. And there you have, on each and every form you have also that point here on Settings, WebinarJam. And then you can say Send leads to WebinarJam, say active. And now automatically the settings expand, and here you can discover some things you can manipulate to dictate the behavior of your form. But before we do that, we go back to edit and I will show you what happens in the background. So in the background we added drop down field. Here it says dynamically filled. Oh, we misspelled it. And down here we added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields, which are only administrative fields. So please do not modify these fields. Here you can take a guess of the title of the field, what we will store in these fields. So these fields do not get displayed to your front end user. Just keep that in mind. So we go back to settings, WebinarJam, and here we can see what we can edit. So first, how many future webinar dates should be displayed to the user in the drop-down field for registration? The drop-down field I showed you earlier. Let's say for now we want to show one future webinar date. Next, how many minutes after the current webinar has started should the next webinar date be shown? You could set that to 0 minutes, meaning that on the 7th January 2025 at 18:01. The next date will be shown. If I set it to 30 minutes, it waits until 18:31 before it shows the next date. Let's set that to 0 for now and say that opt-in form that I just created should send the leads to my 24th of December, 31st and the 7th January. These are demos. And click save. And what we are going to do now is to embed the form in the front end so you actually can see what the form does. So I created a demo webinar page like this. There we have our shortcode. And now let me just get my ID. It's 35. Let's say here 35. Click update. And to see it a bit better, go to front end. So this is now a very basic formatted form, not very pretty. We can do more work on it, but I want to show you the functionality of it. So what you have here is automatically the Tuesday, 24th of December, 18 o'clock. Now, if I go back to my WebinarJam settings page, I could say, let's show 3 dates. Save settings, go to the front end, reload it, and there you have 3 settings. This could be helpful if you have multiple webinar dates on a single week and you want a user to have the decision when they want to join your live webinar. But usually for us, when we run live webinars, we only show 1 date. So we force every sign up to be on the exact same live webinar. Now to the shortcode. We have a shortcode that does the following. I click on it, it says automatically copied. And on the top bar, we want to show the live date. I go back to the Elementor, I click to that text field and I replace my 3 dots with my shortcode. I get to the update, go to the front end, reload it, and there you say it's Tuesday, 24th December at 18 o'clock. This is now locally in German, so you see the German format, but of course it's also available in English. Now let's go back and go to the list of these 3 webinars. You might wonder, how does this work? How do this list know when I create a new webinar that the list automatically should be expanded? So how it works is you go to your WebinarJam and let's say we duplicate one, and just for make it more clear, make this 14th of January, let's say save schedule, and I will edit my schedule. Say this is the 14th January, click save, save. And now we go back to the WebinarJam settings page and reload that page. And there you see it automatically pulls upcoming webinar dates and it automatically shows you in here. So the ideal scenario is if you pre-plan like 6 months in the future and you say you want to go live every 2nd week and you go to your WebinarJam, say duplicate, 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 duplicate. So you have pre-planned your webinars for a half a year. And then you just simply say click, 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 click. So add the ticks to all webinars that should get the leads from this gravity form. So you even can say if you have multiple webinars that got held by different people, because one webinar is about topic A and a different webinar is about topic B, and both of them you want to have on a 2-week schedule, you just simply could create a second WebinarJam, a second gravity form saying this webinar and this not and this not should be showed in the form. So if I say save changes, of course, we have the 24th and the 7th. And if I go to the front end, the dropdown automatically says 24th or 7th of January. All right, let's go back and let me talk about one feature. Next is the list automatically gets shorter once a date is passed. So here is the date 29th of February 2024. This date is passed. So you will not get it as an option in your settings page because there's no point in having infinite amount of checkboxes polluting only your settings page. So let me do the following. I will do a WebinarJam that will happen right in the next 5 minutes from now on. I go to clone. I edit the title for making it clear. Today's the 6th of July 2024. Go to schedules, edit, accept, go here. And 11 a.m. is right around the corner. So it was in 3-4 minutes. Let's say save. So we pretend we just now want to have a live webinar. So I can show you how it looks and feels with the automatically date change in the shortcode and even in the dropdown, of course. So we reload the window again. There we have our 6th July at 11. Let me check every single checkbox. For now, this is not sorted by date. This is simply the sort of WebinarJam, but the plugin automatically checks that the 6th of July is earlier than the 24th of December. So if I go to the front end, click reload, it automatically says 6th July 11, 6th July 11. There you have the right order by date. And let me sign up for that. Let's say submit. Of course, you would have a thank you page saying, hey, thank you for your registration, and give some indications of what the next steps for that live webinar will be. But for now, to show you how the plugin works, this is how I configured it. So we go to registrants, say 6th of July, all sessions, all events. And there is my sign up that I just did. If I go back to the plugin, go to entries, there I have the entry. Here is what the date picker said. This is a little bit cryptic, but it doesn't matter because everything is down here. Webinar date is here, webinar ID, webinar schedule, webinar live room URL, and replay room URL. So you have everything in a correct format. If you, for example, want to continue automating things with Zapier, you automatically have your dates and everything in a structured and correct format of that individual user who just registered. So let me go back to the settings page here, and in the front end, we reload it and we just pause the video to a minute past 11 to just show you that without editing a single thing, the page automatically shows the next date. So I just prepared a window saying we have 11:01 is the time, and now we just reload the window and it automatically switches to the 24th of December because this is our very next configured webinar. The shortcode automatically changes and the dropdown as well. So if we now increase the threshold from 0 minutes to 30 minutes, it says, you can guess it, still 6th of July, 11, also down here, meaning that if one gets to the page and saying, oh, 11, they just started, oh nice, I want to join that, go submit, and they will automatically get registered to that webinar, and that will follow in having them an email from WebinarJam so they still can join the webinar. So that is the quick tour about how you configure the plugin, how you get it running. And for all of you who get a license, on the page where you download the zip file for that plugin, I will show you advanced tips, what you can do with the entries. So because in the entry you have the live URL, what you then can do with that URL on your thank you page or with that live date on your thank you page to further improve your live webinar funnel. So if you run continuously live webinars with WebinarJam, get your license now, and I will get you a more deep dive advanced video of how you can further automate your webinar sign up process to make the experience for your people better and to drastically improve your show rates by simply making life more easy for your sign up users on your thank you page.